All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals in today's video. So this team's so baffling to me because I think they're so good and I think they're so underrated and underrespected. However, when I say that out loud, they weren't even respected. They weren't even well covered in their Super Bowl run season. Now, I do want to talk about OTAs and minicamp because Zach Taylor was very pleased with it. But Cincinnati guys last year went 9-8 with a backup quarterback. Hardest schedule in the league, hardest division in the NFL by far. Like, this team is so underrated, and I get it. You lost dudes like Tyler Boyd. You flipped Joe Mixon over for a new running back in Zach Moss. You lost DJ Reader. I get it. Some of these moves do suck, or I shouldn't say suck. Some of those moves were unideal. Losing Tyler Boyd, but that's where guys like Jermaine Burton come into. Right? This is where guys like Sheldon Rankins come in. They made a great plethora of moves at the safety spot. Cam Taylor-Britt is an ascending star. Like, Cincinnati is just fine. The talk of the town has been and will continue to be T. Higgins, and I'll talk about that in a second here because, it is what it is. But before we get any further into today's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. We try and post as many Bengals videos as we can on this channel. I do want to ramp them up, so if we could try and get this video to 150 likes, I would really appreciate that. But once again, I'm glad to see The Athletic thinks the Bengals will win more than 10 games. Vegas has them around 10 at 10.5. And, I'm glad Vegas understands what we're seeing here, right? Because Cincinnati was technically the worst team in their division last year, they have a much easier schedule than they did last year. Like, last year wasn't even funny. Cincinnati opens this upcoming season against the New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Washington Commanders, and the Carolina Panthers. So outside of Kansas City, the back-to-back defending champions, that's 3 teams with new coaches. That's 2 teams with new quarterbacks. That's last year's #1 pick. So worst case scenario, I'm looking at Cincinnati and I'm thinking, 3-1, right? They could easily go 4-0. We saw Detroit take down Kansas City on the road in week 1 of last season. Like, it's week 2. So Cincinnati's biggest flaw in the last couple of seasons outside of health has just been these slow, sluggish starts. And I don't, because of the schedule and because this has been reoccurring and it's very evident, actually, Joe Burrow has a chip on his shoulder this upcoming season. I just don't see that slow start happening again. But a lot of people are still wary of this Cincinnati Bengals team. I was just reading an article. Sports Illustrated ranks the Bengals defensive trio near the bottom of the NFL. And it's funny because, they ranked defensive triplets, all right? That's the team's best edge rusher, the best linebacker, and the best cornerback. So they did Trey Hendrickson, Logan Wilson, and Cam Taylor-Britt, and they ranked them 25th in the NFL. But it's funny because here was the excerpt from that article, which is just, it seems redundant. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The Bengals got some good news when Hendrickson rescinded his trade request this offseason. He's been one of the most productive edge rushers in the NFL since leaving New Orleans for Cincinnati in 2021. Wilson is another consistent playmaker in this defense, recording 135 total tackles last season. Taylor-Britt, a 2022 second-round pick, could be on the verge of a breakout season after recording 4 picks last year. So the bottom of the NFL, I just don't really get it. They did rank 31st in the NFL, allowing 374.6 yards per game. Second worst in the NFL, obviously. It was terrible. However, that's why you picked up Geno Stone from Baltimore, freaking playmaking stud. That's why you brought back Von Bell, who spent a season over in Carolina. And they've got a young cornerback room. I get it. You got, OG veteran Mike Hilton, but DJ Turner enters his second season. You got Dax Hill, DJ Ivey, Josh Newton now in town, but Cam Taylor-Britt once again entering a huge breakout season candidate. But I just don't see the flaws defensively. Like, losing DJ Reader, I get it, man, totally sucks. Losing some, main cornerback 1 definitely sucks, but it is what it is. You still got Sam Hubbard there. You got BJ Hill. You got Chris Jenkins now, who I absolutely love coming out of Michigan. Trey Hendrickson's one of the best edge rushers in the NFL that I don't think people, fully appreciate his season last year because Joe Burrow went down with an injury. Most people stopped watching Cincinnati Bengal football games outside of Cincinnati Bengal fans. Like, don't mean that to be rude, but that was just, simply the case. And then we look at the offense. And the big thing is T. Higgins, right? I'll talk about that in a second. But I was reading an article. Bengals quarterback, running back, wide receiver combo ranked in the top 10 in the NFL. The defense is like so much more improved than they were last. Like it's back to this kind of Super Bowl caliber defense, in my opinion. You got like one of the best defensive coordinators in the National Football League. But the talk of the town has been and will continue to be T. Higgins. NFL rumors: T. Higgins unlikely to get Bengals long-term contract amid signing tag. This is from Ian Rappaport with ESPN or NFL Network. Sorry. My understanding of the situation is considered unlikely that T. Higgins will end up getting the long-term extension that he wants. And this is just unfortunately the way it has to go. You really don't need two wide receiver number ones. T. Higgins coming off a horrible season. He only played 12 games, and he's coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Like, we know T. Higgins is really good. That's obviously why you drafted Jermaine Burton in the 3rd round here. But you want to pay Joe. You want to pay Jamar. You want to pay Trey. You want to pay a lot of these dudes, and you just can't. You just probably can't trade, or you just probably can't pay T. Higgins. I think T plays the entire season, the entire 2024 season as a member of the Cincinnati Bengals. But I guess, we'll wait and see what happens there. I am feeling very good about Jermaine Burton. Round 3, 80th overall. He was a high production dude over at Alabama. His senior season, 798 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. And you got him in the 3rd round. It was just such a deep wide receiver draft class that you're able to get an immediate contributor in the 3rd round. But here's the thing. He averaged 20.5 yards per catch in his final year at Alabama. He had 39 catches. This dude's a walk-in playmaker, and he's going to have an impact in his rookie season. I think this is also very underestimated or very undercovered right now in the NFL, or media world, I should say, this is probably the best offensive line Joe Burrow has had in his entire NFL tenure. The addition to Trent Brown at right tackle, I think, is a game changer. You got Mims in the 1st round at right tackle, game changer long term. I just think this is Joe Burrow's best offensive line he's ever had. And they still have T. Higgins, and you still have Jamar Chase, and now you got Jermaine Burton. You got also guys, Trent Irwin's consistent, reliable as always, whenever his number gets called, whenever his name is called. And Zach Moss was one of the best running backs in the NFL when Jonathan Taylor was, not playing for him in the first month of the season. Like, Zach Moss was a freaking stud. So, I love Joe Mixon, but I do think it was time to change, time to change things up. And that's exactly what you did with Zach Moss. So, and also like RB2 entering his 2nd season. So, Cincinnati, I get it. It's a difficult division. It's a difficult conference. It's the most difficult division in the NFL. And I'm a Packers fan over in the NFC North. So Cincinnati's going to make the playoffs. I actually don't even really care what their record is as long as they get into the playoffs. But if they win the division, watch out, because Cincinnati's probably going to make the Super Bowl. All right. So I would, I'm throwing loose observations out. I'm loose takes at this point in the offseason. I kind of want to pencil in a Detroit Lions Cincinnati Bengal Super Bowl. All right. That's just me. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Give me a win total for Cincinnati this upcoming season. Let me know if you guys want more down below, but have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.